Good evening, YouTube followers. Welcome to my 27th YouTube Live. Glad to join you on this amazing Saturday, December 24th, 2022, on the literal eve of Christmas 2022. What an incredible year, Christmas 2022. Well, the whole year 2022. What an incredible year it has been. I have a lot to share. Um, Several topics today. It took me a long time to prepare for this week, but wanted to make sure I get everything in order for this amazing year. Subscribe, like, and share my YouTube. Please don't hesitate to do that. And if you were blessed by the information I provide, don't hesitate to give to my Cash App, which is $ Ron Fraser. I want to talk about Christmas music that has really blessed me over the years, as well as the 2022 World Cup, which since my last YouTube live took place in Qatar, as well as what Christmas means. Like, now more than any other year that I've been alive, I'm thinking about the paganization of Christmas, the Greco-Roman calendar, how that was created, and how the whole holiday was created, and how that was probably different from how those who understood Christ, recognized Christ, believed in Christ, celebrated Christ, not even a year after he died. And then I want to talk about the different world reunion that Jada Pinkett Smith hosted on her Red Table Talk. And finally, I want to talk about the awesome Kindred series that was a pleasant surprise. It was really a pleasant surprise. Ironic twists in the writer's adaptation of Octavia Butler's novel, Kindred. So, first, I want to really talk about amazing Christmas music. This is music that has blessed me. My aunt gave me this album, Kirk Franklin and the Family, and there are two basic tracks that I play over and over on this Christmas album. The first is Silent Night with Tamala Mann, who sings lead on it. And the second song, I really like the way that Kirk Franklin directs his choir is Now Behold the Lamb. Those are two probably of the strongest songs on this whole album. I'll always go to those two. Silent Night is the first track, I believe. And then I'll skip to the Now Behold the Lamb song. Amazing song. Oh, an album I missed that is I meant to also mention that includes an awesome Christmas song is John P. Key's gospel album. He has a song called "Oh Holy Night," and Vanessa Bell Armstrong sings an incredible lead that singers sing, right? Through their singing voice, they convey a message. And Vanessa Bell Armstrong has touched me more than any other singer in that particular song, "Oh Holy Night," because what her voice does something that I didn't think it would do, and it transports me back to when Jesus was literally born and his parents could not find any room at the inn. Something about the way Vanessa Bell Armstrong sings, and it's not even her song, it's John P. Key's song. But when she sings her part in "Oh Holy Night," I'm just like, few singers are able to do to me what Vanessa Bell Armstrong does. She transports me back to when Jesus was born. So listen to that song, and if I hope it affects you the way it has affected me. That song is "Oh Holy Night" by John P. Key, and Vanessa Bell Armstrong's lead in that just takes me back. Everything stops, and then I'm imagining what it feels like as a parent to want to birth a child in a peaceful place, but you're told there's no room at the inn. Each time I hear that, I get that feeling of what a disappointed parent must feel like, not being able to have a room for a child to be birthed in, having to birth the child in a feeding trough or in a manger. So it's a powerful story. And when we talk about stories at Christmas time, we're real clear about the myths. I think at 43 years old, I think clearly about the society in which I was raised and the myths around Christmas that have been created, and how these myths are probably not actually true. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the birth of Jesus. I believe he was real. However, I do. know, what is not real is all the fanfare, the consumer culture around Christmas time where you have to buy this person a gift and you have to buy that person a gift. Um, there are certain energies that really convey the true message of salvation, the true message of forgiveness, the true message of hospitality. And that song, "Oh Holy Night" with Vanessa Bell Armstrong, does that for me. This is an amazing Christmas album. I also highly recommend. Um, the Real Meaning of Christmas. It was produced by Verity Records in the 90s. Some really great tracks that I still, every Christmas, have to listen to. Um, the First Noel by Virtue, who you see in the center, in the bottom row, the quartet of women sing a beautiful song called The First Noel. On the right hand side, on the lowest row, you see Carolyn Ramsey, um, who sings a beautiful rendition of Oh Holy Night. I don't think there's a better singer alive, stronger singer alive than Carolyn Ramsey. Powerful voice. She literally burst the speakers in a reality TV show she was in. Powerful voice. I really like her. Well, she had a solo album, and it's just an incredible, powerful voice. Also on this album is a song that I've grown to appreciate. The song has grown on me, and that is Twinkie Clark's song. I was just listening to it. Oh, come and mm, oh, come let us adore him by Twinkie Clark. It's a beautiful song. Vanessa Bell Armstrong on the top left sings "The Innkeeper," which is a nice instrumental song. That song really mellows me out. This is a great album, so I highly recommend it for Christmas time. Check it out. And then also, anytime I visit my sister around this time of the year, Christmas time, she would set this song up for me. Um, and she and her husband know how to arrange the TV in a particular way where they would show uh, family photos and different photos of the family, of her, her husband, her kids, and I would love to listen to Whitney's Christmas album while watching the family, my sister's family album flash on the screen. It's one of my fondest Christmas memories. This whole album is incredible. There's one song I played more than any other on this album, and that is Little Drummer Boy. And I just saw B. Slade do a new rendition of Little Drummer Boy on Instagram with Cheryl Lee Ralph that I'm interested in taking another look at. I just caught the clip on IG, but Cheryl Lee Ralph looked like she was having a grand time. That looked like an incredible recording. I want to go check that out. Cheryl Lee Ralph singing Little Drummer Boy with B. Slade's rendition. This rendition of Little Drummer Boy by Whitney Houston was produced by Mervyn Warren, who also produced Whitney on the Preacher's Wife soundtrack. That whole soundtrack is amazing. Shout out to Candy Williams for reminding me how great the music is in that soundtrack. Um, who would imagine the King is great on this album? Just a powerful album. One Wish, the holiday album by Whitney. So those are my Christmas favorites that I had to let you guys know for in terms of music. Um, in terms of Christmas music, what always lifts my spirits. There are other albums too that I haven't gotten to. Yolanda Adams's Christmas album is awesome. She sings from the heart. She sings from the heart in that. So I appreciate that. Um, Subscribe, like, and share my YouTube, please. And if what you've watched has blessed you, don't hesitate to bless my Cash App. My Cash App is $Roan Fraser. Since my previous YouTube, the World Cup took place in Qatar, and shout out to Argentina for winning. I thought it was interesting that even before the game, Usain Bolt tweeted this photo of him sporting Hublot watch, and he wears the colors of Argentina, who ended up winning. And I had watched the whole game. It was an exciting game. Um, Argentina was a stronger team. You know, a lot of sports, not just soccer, but basketball, a lot more American sports is based on stars and who the stronger stars are, whether the star on one team will outshine the star on the other team, that determines the win. But this World Cup was really about, I mean, soccer or football, as the world calls it, is really a sport about teamwork. And Argentina really had that strong, incredible teamwork. Um, Messi scored the first goal in the first half, and then Di Maria scored the second goal for Argentina. They just seemed like on a roll. When you looked at how Argentina moved the ball, they were more comfortable, even though they tried several times. They were more comfortable with scoring. France seemed so tepid. They seemed scared in the first half. I watched the game with my dad, and I was like, Dad, I don't think France is going to score. It looks like Argentina, has them psychologically. They were just a stronger team. They had control of the ball on their end and in their opponent's end. They had control of the defense. So I was shocked when Kylian Mbappe, started scoring. And he scored two goals within 90 seconds in the 90th minute of the game or the 88th minute. And it was a shock because, soccer, those games are no more than 90 minutes. And so the game was almost over. And then Kylian Mbappe, whose father is Cameroonian and whose mother is from Algeria, uh, scored incredible goals. And it made the World Cup final amazing. The way he maneuvered around his Argentinian defenders. And Elon Musk tweeted that after Kylian's second goal that tied the game, because Argentina was up 2-0 at the half, right when the second half is about to end, Kylian Mbappe scores one goal. It's like, okay, well, Argentina can still win. Then he scores the second one, and Elon Musk tweeted right after that second goal by Mbappe that people were tweeting about the World Cup final at 24,000 tweets a second. And this is why I like Elon as a leader of Twitter. He's honest like that. I'm not sure if previous owners before or after Elon would be as honest in admitting how much commercial benefit, um, Killian's talent will provide for Twitter. Elon was very clear. Look, I see the benefit, and that's why I like this photo of you saying, because he's real clear on the benefit. This is, we provide as athletes, we work hard to give the best, and we know our value, and so it was humbling to read that from Elon Musk. I found it a humbling statement. I appreciated it because most of these social media moguls won't dare admit how much they benefit from Black talent, how much they benefit from athletic prowess, from athletic skill. For Mbappe to score two goals within 2 minutes in a World Cup final is absolutely extraordinary. And I noticed something on uh, I want to get the name of it right. It was a Facebook site that specializes in news. And basically, the post was saying that Cameroon, the country of Cameroon, had tried to bribe Mbappe into playing for them. And doing more internet research, shout out to my Facebook friends, Ricky Ryan and Salifu Mack. They were like, oh, this is wrong. Cameroon never invited. Mbappe said Cameroon never um, tried to bribe him to play for them because his father is Cameroonian, and they have some really strong players. The player that had scored the goal in their previous match was from Cameroon. Um, it's just talented, but see, the clincher for the World Cup final was that Argentina had better team chemistry, and so I told my dad when the game went into overtime, if you will. And then after the overtime, there was a penalty kickoff. I said, Dad, Argentina's going to win the penalty kickoff. And I said that because I remember Argentina's penalty kickoff against the Netherlands. They did not miss. And you could see just the chemistry of the Argentinian players. They're like, look, we came here this far, but they had so much stronger chemistry than any other team. France might have had the talent, they might have had the individual stars, they might have had the power kickers. They did not have Argentina's chemistry. So shout out to Argentina for winning the World Cup. Um, I do want to look at this piece. Yes, since my last YouTube, Jada Pinkett hosted on her Red Table Talk a different world reunion cast, a different world cast reunion. And she had, because she performed the role of Lena James. I remember when I first saw her on A Different World, I was blown away. I thought she was incredibly attractive, but I liked her character Lena because Lena, she, her energy was real hood. I thought Jada performed that role very convincingly. I liked the reunion. I think it was interesting to see the tables turn because where Debbie Allen used to direct Jada, now Jada is in the position where she is basically directing. If you heard what Jasmine Guy said at the beginning of this reunion, it was very interesting. She described the whole set in the studio of Jada's Red Table Talk as Wakanda. So a lot of great tidbits in this whole reunion. It was a pleasure for me to watch because each of these actors means so much to me. Their roles mean so much to me. I could go, I could do a whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour YouTube live on the morals of each different war episode. I appreciate what each episode is taught. And this reunion, the only flaw this reunion had was acknowledging the amazing work of the Hillman Files IG account. Whew. Shout out to that Hillman Files creator on IG because they do yeoman's work. They do incredible work in finding the birthdays of each cast member and locating the clips of that long 6 season series, A Different World, and having those clips be relevant to their birthdays, to themes in other work on television, to themes in other films. I mean, it's a treasure trove, the whole series of A Different World. I appreciated their interviews with the other cast members, Charnel Brown, who played Kim Reese. That was probably my favorite of those they interviewed because Charnel talked about how she was influenced by Debbie Allen and started a school of actors. And she said 80% of her actors are working. And she said in this reunion that she has to catch herself because she finds herself saying the same things Debbie Allen said to her. So it was awesome to see, Ms. Allen's influence on Charnel Brown. I appreciated the clip that Jada showed of um, the episode dealing with domestic violence, because that is a topic that Jada is very passionate about addressing domestic violence. And they showed that episode where the character of Gina was abused by her boyfriend. And that scene stuck out to me. It struck me because I remember the first time watching that. And um, I was struck by AJ Sanders, who performs Gina. I was struck by her. I was struck by AJ's performance of Gina. It really, it really embodied people I know personally who have been affected by domestic violence and how they protect their abuser. One of AJ's lines to Jada's character Lena is, "This is my problem." Um, um, and that just the way the emotion she conveyed in that, and I'm grateful AJ shared her story of being homeless to becoming a working actor. That was powerful. So you got a lot of gems in this reunion. I mistakenly thought that this whole reunion never mentioned Bill Cosby, but that's not true. Debbie Allen at the very beginning of this reunion did in fact credit Bill Cosby, as we know, because of his work defending Debbie Allen. We got to appreciate the work of A Different World. So I'm grateful for this reunion. Check it out. It's on Facebook. It was on Facebook Watch, and it's that Red Table Talk. I also appreciated Karen Molina White and her comments. You could just see her full range as an actress and as a personality. So it was awesome to see that. Check out this awesome Red Table Talk: A Different World reunion. This morning I saw this, and I appreciate a lot of IG accounts that are about or claim they're about, raising consciousness. And I saw this and it made me think of, the meaning of Christmas. What is Christmas really? And how do we understand Christmas in the West? The top says how Latinos became Catholic, the middle says how Black people became Christian, and then the bottom says how Afghans, Persians, Indians, Turks, Kurds, Moors, Africans, etc., became Muslim. So you see how this is that very common Western argument that religion is the ill of everything and the big no, religion is not the ill. It's the misinterpretation, or what I really venture to say, the Western interpretation of religion. That's the real ill. When I saw this, I immediately thought of this book cover, William Leo Hansberry's book, Pillars in Ethiopian History. He really talks about Christianity before Western colonization, before Rome colonized Ethiopia, um, or tried to, not completely. And he mentions the original prophets, the original evangelists of Africa from the church at Aksum. And 60 Minutes did a special on one of the original church, Lalibela, in Ethiopia, which is connected to the very, very, very first church at Aksum. And Odysseus and Frumentius is who I thought of. And my comment on this, let's see, on this IG profile, and you can take a look at it right now at this IG page, Awaken the Mind, basically said, this is not the church. What I posted was, this is not the original church that William Leo Hansberry wrote about, that Odysseus and Frumentius talked about. So the way, Christianity is practiced in the West is radically different. And the author that gets us to think about how different it is William Leo Hansberry. And I appreciate what he wrote. I highly recommend you read his Pillars in Ethiopian History as well as Africans and Africa. He talks about where Christianity was practiced and the existence of a Christian state. Um, it's very important to put everything in context. And it reminded me, I saw other posts that reminded me of this kind of reframing of Christianity without the Western lens. When I saw posts talking about what we call the Christmas tree, which I love because I love smelling pine as a little boy this time of year. Um, but I've seen posts talk about the tree as a German juju fetish. And I was like, oh yeah, because they added the tree to the culture. They added the tree to the culture. I was absolutely struck. I want to get this individual's name right. I want to get this individual's name right. Today, I posted um, Adrian Bliss is his name. He gave an interesting story about how the life of Christ was paganized, including how we came to worship, how we came to use the tree, and how that's totally different from how the original people who saw Christ acknowledged Christ, acknowledged the birth of Christ. So take a look at Adrian Bliss's IG. He does a whole skit around how Christianity was basically paganized, and it's paganized by the West. So check out William Leo Hansberry's book and Adrian Bliss's IG and Twitter. I know he has an IG and Twitter, ADRIANBLISS. I chose to go back to this novel that I first read about a decade ago, written by Octavia Butler, because Hulu is doing a series called Kindred by the same title, and it's based on this novel, written originally by Octavia Butler. It's an amazing story of a interracial couple. The way she writes it, it's around the time of the bicentennial in 1976, and the black woman who is married or in a relationship, in a romantic relationship with a white man, travels back in time, travels back in time to the time of her great grandmother on a Maryland plantation, where she discovers that she discovers the identity of her great grandmother Alice, and she discovers her moral obligation to make sure that Alice gets with really her a plantation owner, or the son of a plantation owner, Rufus. And I thought it was a powerful story when I first read it because it showed how intertwined, in America, in the United States, Black identity is to white identity. So I started the Kindred series. I'm halfway through it. They take very interesting creative liberties in these series. They add another character named Olivia, who is Dana. Dana is the black woman who is the protagonist. They add Olivia, who is Dana's mother, who dies in a car crash. They bring Dana from Butler had her in 76 to 2016, and she buys a house. They were in an apartment in the novel. They buy a house together, and she meets Kevin. Kevin is a waiter. It's an interesting backstory. I was at first leery of the radical departures from the original story because I can be a purist sometimes. But the more I'm watching it, the more I am compelled, especially with Issa Davis's incredible acting. Issa plays Dana's aunt. Um, the aunt's name is not coming to me now, but I know her as Dana's aunt. And she just looks at Dana like she's crazy. She treats Dana like she's crazy. So if you get up to the first half of the series, there are 8 episodes so far. At the end of it just creates this suspense, this tension. So shout out to Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, who is the main writer for the first 3 episodes of this series, for creating a compelling story. I was very interested in, I remembered reading the novel, and I remembered reading a Callaloo interview that Octavia Butler did with Charles Rowell, who was then the editor of Callaloo. And she told Charles Rowell why she chose to write this novel, Kindred. She says, when I got into college, this is the second full paragraph, Pasadena City College, the Black nationalist movement, the Black Power movement was really underway with the young people. And I heard some remarks from a young man who was the same age I was, but who had apparently never made the connection with what his parents did to keep him alive. He was still and I just wanna pause here. I think Butler's point is to show not every white person was evil in slavery. I think we kind of forget that, and not as we know today, not every black person is your friend. We see in many cases how they collaborate with Europeans to continue colonization, as they did during the slave trade and even today during the New World Order. Butler tells Rowell about this young man who never made the connection with what his parents did to keep him alive. Butler told Rowell he was still blaming them for their humility and their acceptance of disgusting behavior on the part of employers and other people. He said, I'd like to kill all these old people who have been holding us back for so long, but I can't because I'd have to start with my own parents. When he said us, he meant black people. And when he said old people, he meant older black people. That was actually the germ of the idea for Kindred, done the year I was born, 1979. I've carried that comment with me for 30 years. He felt so strongly ashamed of what the older generation had to do without really putting it into the context of being necessary for not only their lives, but his as well. And I was like, wow. So check out Kindred on FX. I think um, Brandon Jacobs Jenkins is making some important creative liberties that really it's also getting me to think about what it means to be in a romantic relationship. When you're in a romantic relationship with somebody, you literally have to understand the other's traumas the way that the white male character Kevin has to understand Dana's trauma. So it's very much an analogy for not only understanding your history, but being in a relationship with somebody, what that really means. Okay, what that really, really, really means. I want to say before I leave, shout out to the awesome actors who portray Kindred. Mallory Johnson performs Dana, and Micah Stock performs Kevin in Kindred. Check it out on FX and on Hulu. This concludes my 27th YouTube. Enjoy your Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas.